A postcode lottery for social care. Providers warn the sector is in crisis. Mary's family say they're struggling to keep up with the cost of looking after her.
It's not fair on a family. We had the pressure of putting Mary into a nursing home where we looked after her for 4 years, and now the added pressure of finding this money or she could be evicted.
A legend laid to rest. Football says goodbye to giant of the game, Terry Yorath. Who lives in a house like this? We visit the home, turning architecture on its head, quite literally. And it's narrower than a single bed, but this tiny kiosk has more than a slim chance of being named in the world's best coffee shops. Hello, good evening. The huge challenges and ever-mounting pressures on social care in Wales are well known. But tonight there's yet another warning that the sector is in crisis. Care Forum Wales has slammed the current funding model for care providers as a postcode lottery, leaving many care home businesses struggling to survive. It also warns that an ongoing staffing crisis is adding to the huge problem of bed blocking in NHS hospitals. Our health reporter Katie Fenton has tonight's top story.
So what are we going to do today then? Should we have a game of bingo?
For Mary, this care home is home sweet home. And for daughter-in-law Tracy, it gives the ultimate peace of mind.
She's ready for bed now. We searched and did our homework on where we were going to take Mary, because to put a loved one in a nursing home is a hard decision, and you want the best for that person.
And that's what they feel they're getting here. The sale of Mary's house has so far covered the £2,000 monthly bill, but increasing care needs mean the family now owe an extra £150 a week.
We paid £50,000 out of the house, and we got no money left. We had the pressure of putting Mary into a nursing home where we looked after her for 4 years, and now the added pressure of finding this money or she could be evicted. And I know it's a business, but to us, this is our home. And everybody who works here are our family members. It's heartbreaking. And I just want the council to realise that it is added pressure to us. We work, you work paycheck to paycheck these days, and to get £600 a month, we haven't got it.
In the 40 years it's been running, only in the last 2 has this home had to introduce extra fees.
We've never done it before, we've never wanted to do it before. But those pressures around employers, NIC for the staff, real living wage increases, and of course the impending employment law changes that are coming out in April mean that we have no choice here.
What's it like having that conversation with families?
Having that conversation is incredibly difficult. It used to be when someone came into the care home, the conversation was about care. It was about the individual, it was about the resident. Now the first conversation is about finance and about money.
Care Forum Wales says costs can vary by thousands for the same needs depending on location, with Rhondda Cynon Taf among the lowest paying areas.
So it's a massive injustice. It starts at Welsh Government, it's administered by the local authorities, and then further down the chain, the victims of that are the citizens of Rhondda Cynon Taf who are making up the shortfall.
With just 3.5 months until this year's Senedd election, the call is on the next government to introduce fairer and more consistent care costs. Or families like Mary's will be left out of options.
And Katie joins me now in the studio. What's been the response today?
Well, we approached Rhondda Cynon Taf County Borough Council for a comment in relation to Mary's situation, but haven't yet had a response from them. But this is not just an issue there. There are vast differences in costs across all 22 councils in Wales, and their budgets are, of course, set by the Welsh Government. It says those local authorities and health boards are required to work with providers to understand the pressures and set transparent fees that reflect the true cost of care. But Care Forum Wales says that just just isn't happening, and believes this is a pivotal moment for whichever party is next in power to shape the future of social care. Even in that one care home I was in today, I was told about another resident who'd lived there for 8 years, and 10 days before Christmas was asked to move to a different care home because she couldn't pay for additional costs. Now, thankfully, the care home was able to push back and she was able to stay, but that is the reality. Vulnerable people are at risk of being forced out of their homes.
And this isn't just a problem for people in care homes, is it?
No, because social care plays a vital role in propping up the NHS. When people can't get the right social care, they often end up in hospital and get stuck there for months. That then means fewer beds for other patients, which then sees ambulances waiting outside, unable to hand over their patients. And so we see this vicious cycle and the whole system becomes overwhelmed. So among the many promises that political parties will be making in the build-up to this election, there is desperate hope that social care will be high on the agenda.
OK, Katie Fenton, thank you very much indeed. Police in Wales and England will be given new targets to respond to emergencies within 15 minutes as part of a radical overhaul of policing. The Home Secretary has announced plans to cut red tape and get more bobbies on the beat in response to what she calls an epidemic of everyday crime. Well, Hamish Ouskeri is outside Cardiff Bay Police Station tonight. Hamish, potentially huge changes then to how Wales is policed in the future.
Yes, John, good evening. Oswaith, the UK government says these are the biggest changes to policing here in 200 years. The question is whether that will lead to an improvement in public trust and faith in policing, which has been on the decline. The Home Secretary, Shabana Mahmood, thinks that part of the solution to that is to significantly reduce the number of local police forces. She says ultimately they all do things in different ways, which is inefficient, and modern crime, about 90% of which has a digital element and therefore doesn't respect traditional policing boundaries. She also wants to see tangible changes in relation to these reforms. As you mentioned, the most urgent of calls being responded to within 15 minutes in urban areas or 20 minutes in rural areas. And today in the House of Commons, she's been laying out her plans to MPs.
Today we have policing happening in the wrong places. We have local forces responsible for national policing, distracting them from policing their communities. And at the same time, we have forces of various shapes and sizes, with quality varying widely force by force. This government's reforms will ensure we have the right policing happening in the right place.
There does seem to be an acceptance in much of the policing community that reforms are necessary, but not without caveats. And today, in a joint statement, the 4 Welsh police forces called on the UK government to demonstrate how its changes that it's proposing would enhance local accountability and deliver the best possible service to our communities. And certainly that idea of strengthening local policing was the top of the agenda for the South Wales Police Chief Constable when I spoke to him a little earlier.
Locally in South Wales Police, we are getting to our urgent calls for service within 11 minutes in our urban areas. Not everyone will have that, and it will be challenging for different forces across the country, but that is precisely why I say that any of the reforms must result in an investment in local policing services, because it's the local policing services that are going to respond to you the most quickly, are going to be there first.
And one way in which the Home Secretary wants to improve that is to establish a national police service. Eventually it will have responsibilities for big things like counter-terrorism and fraud. That's why it's been dubbed the British FBI. Ultimately, that's hope that it will reduce the pressures on local police forces, giving them more resources to tackle local issues. But these are enormous changes. It will take a long time and there'll be plenty of debate, so I think we'll be hearing about this for the many months to come. John.
OK, Hamish Ouskeri in Cardiff Bay, thanks very much indeed. The funeral of footballing legend Terry Yorath took place today. He was held with huge affection by Welsh fans after coaching the national side and almost taking them to the World Cup 30 years ago. Today, family, friends and fans paid tribute to Terry, as Matt Southcombe now reports.
As a player, Terry Yorath sang Hen Wladfy Had I 59 times. Then, as a manager, 41 times. And today, one final rendition. This afternoon, a giant of Welsh football was laid to rest in Leeds, with home close to his heart. Among the 100 or so in attendance were some of the great and good of Welsh football, the likes of teammate Mickey Thomas, Ian Rush, and former Wales manager Chris Coleman all paid their respects. The pinnacle of Yorath's club career came when he helped Leeds United win the First Division in 1974. But he also endured his share of tragedy. In 1992, Yorath's son Daniel collapsed and died aged just 15. 7 years prior, he was a player-coach at Bradford City during the Valley Parade fire disaster. That day, he sustained injuries helping fans escape the blaze and attended the funerals of all 56 supporters who died.
Terry, what a career. What a marvellous career. He did everything and he suffered as well, which was quite amazing. The Bradford fire and his son Daniel. What a man and what a service.
You just look who's been here today and it just shows the kind of person he was. Once you met Taff, everybody fell in love with him. He was he was a tough man. He was hard as nails, but he had a heart of gold.
Yorath leaves behind his children, Jordan, Louise and Gabby. And he also leaves behind a legacy as one of the towering figures of Welsh football.
Well, still to come, Ruth, a new week, but well, same old weather story.
Yeah, absolutely, John, yes, same story. Different storm, though, and a new name. Plenty to talk about in the forecast, but not much of it good, I'm afraid. I will see you in a few minutes.
Also to come, the gravity-defying house that's the first of its kind in Wales. Millions of Jewish people and others killed during the Holocaust are being remembered this week, and a service has now taken place in Cardiff as part of Holocaust Memorial Day. The National Day honours the survivors and remembers those who lost their lives. It takes place every year on the 27th of January, and ahead of that, political, community and religious leaders came together in the capital for a special commemoration. Isa Farfur reports.
I was deported there during the summer of 1944 with my parents.
Peter was born in Hungary in 1939. As a child, he was deported to Bergen-Belsen. He survived until liberation in 1945. Now he returns every year to tell his story so younger generations understand what hatred can lead to.
For a long time, I did not talk about what happened to me. Then, after a long research, I did write a book about it. And then it became obvious to the public. And I think it's an important task because I am the last generation of survivors. And after we die, there won't be anybody who could say, yes, it's true because I was there.
Political leaders, faith leaders and young people gathered here at the Temple of Peace for the national commemoration, a day to honor the millions murdered in the Holocaust.
This year the theme we chose is Bridging Generations.
A reminder that remembrance doesn't end with survivors, it lives on through all of us.
We often hear the words never again. How do we make sure those words have a real meaning in today's world?
It means we need to make sure that people are aware of what happened during the Holocaust, but that leads us to action, that it leads to us standing up against discrimination within our communities and leads to us recognising that we all have a responsibility to stand up to divisions that are being sown within our communities.
Holocaust Memorial Day is marked every year on January 27th. Tomorrow, buildings across Wales will be lit in purple, and people are invited to place a candle in their window at 8 o'clock, a small light to remember millions, and to make sure the words never again are carried from one generation to the next. Isa Farfur, ITV News in Cardiff.
You're watching Wales at 6. It is 14 minutes past the hour. A reminder of our top story. Funding for social care in Wales has been slammed as a postcode lottery by Care Forum Wales. It says funding for identical needs can differ by as much as £20,000 a year. The Welsh Government says it requires councils and health boards to work with care providers in setting fees. And still ahead on the ITV Evening News.
Coming up on the programme, an inquest finds heading a football is likely to have contributed to the brain disease of Gordon McQueen, which was a factor in the footballer's death. The country prepares for severe wind and rain as Storm Chandra approaches. And the quest to identify the mystery faces found on the film and a 90-year-old camera in a charity shop in Salisbury. Well, do join me for those stories and more at 6:30.
Now, some things in life make us change our perspective, and that will certainly be the case for visitors to Mumbles Pier in the coming weeks. Construction on an upside-down house is almost complete, offering a first-of-its-kind attraction in Wales. And if any of you are wondering what is an upside-down house, don't worry. We've sent our Swansea correspondent, Dean Thomas Welch, along to try and make sense of it all.
Who was it who once asked, who lives in a house like this? Well, if you look through the keyhole and found someone living here, I'm sure their life would be turned upside down.
Now, if you'd gone and bought yourself a new built house and it looked a little something like this, then you'd be having a stern word with the builders. But there's no need to do that here because this is Wales's first upside down house attraction.
This topsy-turvy house is being built on Mumbles Pier. It's said to be the latest attraction to draw crowds in, with profits raised by the owners going towards the multi-million-pound restoration of the Victorian pier.
It's provided by the Studs Entertainment Company, who are a local family company that do the big wheel down here. They've got their land down here. They're really helpful to the site in bringing people down here and making it more of an attraction for the local community. At the end of everything, the pier is 125 years old. You know, the upkeep on it, we're making something that sits out in the sun and water for 24 hours a day. So it's a horrendous bit. And everything we can do here to bring people down really does help.
Similar upside-down houses have proved a huge hit in places like Bournemouth, Brighton and Bristol. But now Wales has its very own, Tŷ Gwrthdro.
It'll be open to the public on the 13th, Friday the 13th, ready for the half-term week. So yeah, it's quite exciting. We're all very excited down here.
So Friday the 13th, there could be a situation where it blows back up right.
It could be. It could end up the right way around. It'd be terrible to have a right way around house.
Soon enough, you could be dancing on the ceiling or spinning around, whatever tickles your fancy, in a house that's got it all backwards. Dean Thomas Welch, ITV News in Swansea.
Well, from upside-down houses to the coolest of caravans. For more than 100 years, mobile home holidays have been a much-loved way to take a break on the Welsh coast or in the countryside. Many fans enjoy the nostalgia and the simpler life in stunning surroundings. But now there's a way for five-star travel types to experience the magic of a caravan break with some luxury thrown in. Rob Shelley reports.
Once upon a time, in an ever so slightly snobbish way, they used to call North Wales the Caravan Coast. But then, what is a caravan or a static home but a steel box of hope, memories, and pretending it isn't raining all that much? Anyway, back towards the last days of last year, something looking very futuristic turned off the A55 and arrived on a low loader in one corner of Bangor. Well, as a fan of Stanley Kubrick in 2001, I love the space ageness of this. Permission to step aboard.
Absolutely, come on in.
So this is caravan life circa 2026 and beyond then?
Absolutely, yeah, this is the future.
Made in China, not in this country.
Absolutely, made in China, yeah. The manufacturer is just 2 hours south of Hong Kong. And we have to bring them round the Horn, as you know, the Cape Horn. So
they have a huge journey before they hit North Wales.
It's 42 days at sea, would you believe, yes.
It's just me thinking, why can we not build these things, you know?
Yeah, why can't we? We should be able to, but, you know, China, materials, labour costs, it's open plan, which is what people want these days, don't they? And when you go on a holiday, for example, you want that experience to be memorable, not you know, not dark and dingy. You want it to be open plan like this. Well, when you see these in a row, they're really eye-catching. Some caravans in a row don't quite look as appealing, do they?
And you don't have to be an exhibitionist, there are curtains.
There are curtains, exactly right, yes, and all electric.
You get your own corridor with this as well, blimey.
Yes. Well, it's the feeling of space, isn't it?
Must be interesting showing people around these.
Oh, they're blown away. They love it. They love it. And see the ambient lighting? Now that talks to you in Chinese, but the ones we order will be English, so I'll just...
Is she being nice to us, or is she telling us off? The engineering of space has always fascinated me, even in a tiny caravan, how you pack things in. This is all about space,
Absolutely, absolutely. With hydraulic beds for storage.
Do you know what? I never realised in life that you need a hydraulic bed. That's a new thing on the list now. Absolutely. Dear oh Lord. We've left the 1970s, we've said our cultural goodbyes to what is Party 7 and television with only 3 channels. So is it time that caravan design became curvier rather than squarer? How much should I put on my expenses form for one of these?
Would you believe this 11.5 metre unit with the balcony is 60,000?
Do you think my manager's going to approve my expenses?
I'll have a word for you, yeah.
Rob Shelley and his creative expenses form, ITV News in Bangor.
I do like a static. Now, it might be tea time for many of you at home, but now we're going to take a quick coffee break. That's because the owner of a shop in Penarth is raising a glass, or more likely, serving a cup for being voted one of the best in the UK. And now they've been invited to Madrid to take part in a competition to find the very best shop in the world, no less. Well, Mike Griffiths is there for us tonight. Mike, a small Welsh coffee shop making quite a big name for itself.
That's certainly the case, Jonathan. When we say it's a small shop, it really is. I hope you can just get a scale of the intricacy of this wonderful little space in here. Life of Riley Coffee Company, taking its name from Liam Riley. Liam, how did you get started with this?
So I started off in a van I converted with my granddad just under 2 years ago. We headed off all around the south of the country doing coffee pop-ups. And then the opportunity came up to take on this one-man space in Penarth, which I did just over a year ago now.
And it's a one-man space. Now, I fitted in, Lindsay on camera, we've just about fitted in here, but this was a store cupboard originally, but you're right by the station, and that's a perfect place to be.
Yeah, absolutely. So this did actually used to be the cleaning cupboard for this building. And yeah, the train station is less than 100 metres just around the corner. So yeah, it's the perfect little spot for people to stop by and grab a coffee in the morning.
And you were saying earlier, normally you'd be facing out there. You have a steady number of people coming past and are very keen to see you and very keen to have something to lift their day.
Yeah, absolutely. Normally I spend my day looking out there. It can be a bit daunting sometimes. Sometimes I've got queues of people all the way down to the train station. But yeah, no, it's a brilliant little spot for sure.
So, and what's next for you then? So you're nominated for well, you've been recognised already. You know plans to go bigger than this? This is working well for you?
Yeah, so just won a space on the UK's top coffee shops, and now I'm fortunate enough to be recognised on the world stage. So I've been invited to Madrid next month, where they're going to release the top 100 shops in the world. And as for what's next, I'm not too sure. I'm looking to just focus my attention on this and continue trying to make it the best possible space that I can, really.
Because we were talking about this before. People inevitably say, oh, well, surely you want to go for something bigger. But actually, you've spent so much time in the van, out and about. Actually, for what you're doing at the moment, this is working pretty well for you.
Yeah, I'd love to maybe have some more of these tiny shops dotted around. But I still think there's a little bit more that I can do with this small space. I'm always thinking what I can add and what I can squeeze out of it. So yeah, I'm open to seeing where the future goes for sure. But it's looking quite exciting.
Well, things are certainly looking pretty good for you at the moment, aren't they? And I know you've stayed open specially for us tonight. Early start for you tomorrow, many more to come, but all worth it, surely.
Yeah, it's the best thing I ever did opening this tiny space. So yeah, no, it's been a fantastic journey so far, and I'm looking forward to more to come.
Well, Liam, thanks very much for having us here tonight. What a wonderful place to be, and we'll be popping back when it's warmer and dry, and we wish them the best of success.
Mike Griffiths in Penarth, thank you very much indeed. Caravans, coffee shops, small is definitely beautiful tonight, but there's nothing small about what's on the weather horizon.
The weather is pretty big, isn't it? I could murder a coffee right now, it'd be great, wouldn't it? Instant in a mug, that's my level anyway. But yes, as John said, and in fact Mary mentioned a few minutes ago, you might have heard that there is a storm brewing out there at the moment, and this next storm, which is about to hit and actually is already moving into the southwest, has been named Chandra. Now then, so far we've had Amy, we've also had Benjamin, we've had Goretti just last week, but this is the third name that's been named by us, the Met Office here in the UK. So Chandra is going to pack quite a punch, and as I mentioned, is already working its way in our direction. Now the good thing with Chandra is it's not going to be particularly nice weather, but it will rattle through quite quickly. Now you may have heard talk of snow, all sorts of horrendous conditions. Those conditions will be heading further north across the UK, but for us here in Wales, even though it's not going to be nice, it could actually be worse. So the Met Office have a number of weather warnings in force. We have a yellow weather warning for strong winds and heavy rain. The heavy rain covers much of South Wales and runs until tomorrow morning, and then the wind warning for parts of Pembrokeshire runs until tomorrow evening. It is going to be quite eventful, but the good news is the worst of the weather will be overnight tonight. So in terms of disruption and impact, it shouldn't be too troublesome. So let's take a look at all of that in a little more detail.
Outbreaks of ancient sites will gradually settle into an evening of pizza plates al fresco. TUI sponsors ITV Cymru Wales weather.
Well, what can I say? It's raining out there, as we've been saying. Dry for some, however. The first batch of rain will clear over the next hour or so, and then Storm Chandra will arrive overnight tonight. And well, Wales basically disappears beneath a deluge of blue and green. Really heavy, prolonged, slow-moving downpours, accompanied by winds gusting 20 or 30 miles an hour. So wherever you are overnight tonight, it is not going to be pleasant. Be careful on the roads if you have to head out and about. The best I can say is, at least in terms of temperature, it's going to be frost-free with lows of around 5 or 6 degrees. But be careful then as you wake to tomorrow morning. Again, be careful on the roads because you can see heavy rain as we start the day. Now, Storm Chandra will disappear northwards during the course of the morning, and then in its wake will leave a mixture of dry spells, maybe the odd spot of sunshine, but as you can see, the showers are never going to be too far away either. And the winds will be brisk throughout, and again, warnings through parts of Pembrokeshire, but those warnings will ease into the afternoon as the winds start to drop back too. Temperature-wise, neither here nor there. We're looking at general highs of around 9 or 10 in Celsius. So as we head through Tuesday evening and into the overnight stretch, again, further showers just being spun on the back end there of Storm Chandra, but actually much of Wales will see dry conditions, and we could also see some clear skies developing, allowing the temperatures to drop. And as far as Wednesday itself is concerned, it's not actually looking too bad. It's all relative. It won't be brilliant, but we could see some dry conditions, maybe some sunshine, and then further showers starting to work their way in. Much like today and tomorrow, we're looking at highs of around 9 or 10 degrees.
TUI sponsors ITV Cymru Wales weather.
I'm just looking at your list there. I'm a bit worried about Wubbo on the end.
There are some good storm names on there, and I'm not going to cause a diplomatic incident by trying to pronounce any of them, but they are chosen by the Dutch, the Irish and the UK Met Service. So there you go. Take it away.
Stevie
Wubbo.
sounds like a friendly storm. That's it. I'll be back with a late update, but from all of us on the programme, thanks for watching.